Good day, everyone. This is another lesson discussion in EAPP. And the topic that I'm going to discuss in this video is defining and analyzing the position paper. And the lesson objectives, at the end of the lessons, you'll be able to define what a position paper is, identify situations in which a position paper may be effectively used in our present society, articulate insights on the significance of expressing one's position, and examine samples of position papers. Right, before I proceed to the content of our discussion, I would like to ask this question first. Do you engage in political discourse in social media? How do you articulate or frame your stand in any pressing societal issues? Do you consider other people's perspectives and why? Right, thank you very much. And let's proceed to the proper lesson discussion. Position paper. A position paper, also called an argumentative paper or a manifesto, is an essay that presents a person's or group's position or stand on a particular issue. This means that a position paper displays an arguable opinion about an issue or a topic. It presents the author's standpoint or perspective about an important and pressing issue in the society. Its goal is to convince the reader of the acceptability of the writer's position. This means that the main usage of position paper is to persuade your target readers to advance your position about a certain issue. In order to do this, you have to be mindful of the following methods in writing a position paper. Okay, first, presenting rational support to a writer's position through the use of evidence. This means that you need to provide supporting evidence of your position in order to substantiate your claims. Second, presenting counter evidence to or flaws in the arguments of the opposing position. When you argue and insist your position about an issue, you also have to provide counter argument to the possible position and claims of the opposing party. This will help you remediate the possible loophole of your argument before the opposing side can point it out. Next, using emotional appeals. Emotional appeals can be helpful in order to touch the emotions of the people and convince them to support your position. In presenting the argument, it's helpful to use the Aristotle's argumentative appeals, which are the logos, ethos, and pathos. Logos refers to the logic or soundness of your argument. Ethos refers to the character of the author. The character of the author as a credible writer can be helpful to convince the readers. And pathos refers to the appeal to the emotions, which means you have to solicit the sympathy of the readers. So let's proceed to the uses of a position paper. Position papers are used in any kind of situation in which there is a significant issue that needs to be addressed. We see the position paper on many different contexts as a requirement in school, in international relations, and in politics. A position paper does more than expressing a group's or a person's sentiments on an issue. It also helps others to become more aware of certain problems in society and possibly become more involved in finding solution to it. It can also raise awareness about a particular issue and stir discussions that can provide knowledge to the audience or readers. So it is important to participate in a discussion about the pressing issues in society since we are affected to it. And position paper can be a useful tool to engage in the discourse. So parts of a position paper. So according to McWhorter 2001, a position paper contains the following elements. First is the issue. An issue is an idea or question over which people are divided. It is called a controversy. That means people have different points of view on the matter. Some ideas are not debatable. People have the same views about it. So the issue is the focal point of the position paper. This is the subject matter that people are debating with. People may have different views on a particular issue or the same standpoint. So there's nothing to talk about it if there's no relevant issue. Next is the thesis. Your thesis, also called the claim, is a statement that expresses your stand or position on an issue. This expresses how you feel about an issue. Are you in favor of or against it? Is your position somewhere in between? So the thesis summarizes your main point, your claim, your stand or position. It reflects what's your primary position about the issue being talked about in a discussion, be it if you are for or against the issue you are dealing with in the discourse. Next is the reason. A position paper seeks to persuade readers to have the same position on an issue as the writer does. Thus, it is important for the writer to state the reasons in order to explain the reader why his or her position is logical, acceptable, and believable. Another term for reason is arguments. So this refers to the explanation of your thesis. This is the part wherein you need to expound your stand about the issue. So you have to explain further why your position is reasonable, logical, and rational. This part contains your arguments. So next is the support. Support refers to evidence or ideas to substantiate the reasons. Support may be classified into the following types. There are facts, comparisons, examples, and opinions. So basically, support refers to the evidence that can substantiate your claims. So this is necessary to solidify your arguments and make your position more believable. For facts, it refers to the figures and the writer's own observations or reports from scholarly studies. Facts are established and accepted information in the scholarly field. It can be research based information or actual accounts of stories, events, or studies. Next is the comparisons. This refers to the similarities or differentiation between two ideas, concepts, or situations. So you can also employ comparison and contrast in order to show similarities and differences between or among ideas, establish which is more rational or logical. This is useful when you have to weigh down the sounder reasoning among the arguments. Next is the examples. Examples refer to real life demonstrations of an idea. It means that examples are actual examples of real life situations that are good support to show the authenticity of your information. And the last is the opinion, the author's feelings or generalizations. This refers to the author's arguments. This contains what he or she thought about the issue and also further explains his or her standpoint. And next is the opposing viewpoints or counter arguments. The opposing viewpoints, also known as counter arguments, give the arguments opposing your stand. Your goal in presenting these is to refute or discredit them so that any position in the reader's mind is dealt with. You refute by showing weaknesses in the counter argument. So these opposing viewpoints are useful to counter the possible arguments of the opposing party. These can remediate the possible loopholes that the opponent may throw to you. So before they can point their possible argument, you already countered it and provide a solution to it. So therefore, you already answered them to their possible questions before they ask it to you. And that's the end of the discussion. And I hope that you have learned something. And see you on the next video.